Hello everyone. I hope you guys are having a great day. So for today's video, we are going to be continuing to play more E4 and check perk openings to strengthen our repertoire. And okay, it looks like I don't think we can actually play it here. So we have the Nimzo-Larsen. Um, so against Nimzo-Larsen, I'm going to be demonstrating a system where it will be very simple and easy to play against the Nimzo-Larsen, and it is going to be the London defense. Why? Well, why is it good? Why is it good? Simply because usually the biggest weakness of the London system involves Queen B3. However, with with B3 on the board, there will be no Queen B3 involved. So that's why we can't afford to play this sort of system. Okay, now this is transposed to a bird. A bird meaning that it involves the F4 here. It's now the bird variation is definitely not that dangerous. To be fair, uh, we can actually just keep playing playing the London defense, or we could just play C5 and proceed to be a little more aggressive. I think for this game, I'm going to play c5. We have knight f3. We continue with knight to c6. Bishop b5 isn't actually like that scary. Uh, I think we against bishop b5 we can just respond with rook to c8 or something. We can respond with rook c8 or we can just go a6. It's also something we can do. Now let's respond with a6 and see how it goes. All right. All right, we have knight to e5. Now, I think against knight to e5, I kind of like queen b6 here. Um, Although it does create some problems if maybe after the recastle or something like that. Yeah, but I think we are going to try queen b6. We're not scared of g4 because we have bishop e4, so we're going to be fine. And a little bit later, I think establishing some dominance on the g4 square would be a very good idea. Say involving h5 and h6 could be very good. Okay. Now, is this system like the best against the Nimzo-Larsen? Well, probably not. I don't think so. However, in terms of solid and give you a very easy position to play, I think this opening is pretty great. So, and b3 is actually semi-popular, and it is particularly very good again with players who like to play offbeat openings. So okay, I mean maybe instead of knight f6 I could have played d4, but that d4 runs into knight a4, so maybe not the best. Okay, he plays knight to a4 anyways. Now, I think what his plan is that after queen c7, he's going to play bishop a3. And honestly, I kind of don't like that. Why don't we play queen to b5? Now if he plays knight c3 again, we're going to drop, I think we're going to drop the queen to b7. Unless he goes c4, which I don't think c4 by itself is a good move. So, well, actually c4, d takes c4, knight takes c4, bishop d3. There's knight to a3 attacking the queen with tempo, so probably not that great. So probably just drop back to b7, knight to d3. Huh. Very interesting. Knight to d3. Does he know that he's losing a pawn here for free? Although I'm actually debating a little bit if I should take this knight. So c4, knight to e5 again, and then what else? Right? If bishop to d3 and we take, we are up a pawn. But remember that our c5 pawn is very vulnerable. So he could actually just play rook c1, and now the position isn't actually so easy. And after queen b5, he can actually go bishop a3 now. And now c4 is sort of a problem. Because b takes c4 is possible alongside with bishop takes f8. Hmm. Once again, we could, if we want to just play safe, we could just play c4. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Um, hmm. Anything wrong with c4? Oh no, actually, wait. Oh, I just realized something. I could play knight e4. That is something I can do. So after bishop takes and we take the pawn, if rook c1, I really like the idea of knight e4 because white has given up the light square bishop. So now the e4 square becomes a very ideal square for the knight. And then now my queen actually stays here for a very long time. The only thing is, hmm, this is actually not such an easy position to play it out. c4, knight e5. If c takes b3, I mean, c takes b3 doesn't do anything, so. The thing is now c5 is being pressured very hard. I mean, sure, I can play knight e4 right now, but hmm. I think I'm going to bite the bullet here and actually we'll analyze after the game if this move is actually valid. However, I really think that white just dropped a pawn for no reason. Um, knight c3. Oh, so that was the idea. Oh, that was the idea. Ah. Oh, I totally missed that. Unfortunately, we cannot. Unfortunately, we cannot take the rook and then take the knight because a4 traps the bishop. Uh, Very unfortunate there. So so now we have to drop back and allow c takes c3, which is not the end of the world by itself. And I think bishop d6 is good. I might go against the castling idea here. He goes knight e4 again, which now again allows queen b5, and now queen c2 is play. Kind of understand the intentions. So king e7, bishop a3, uh, rook hg8. I don't know. I think I'm gonna make a risky move here. Totally missed knight c3. So okay, just rook c1. I could just go knight d7, but I don't know if that's. Huh. Knight d7, bishop a3. I mean, you could go bishop g7, but that's kind of accelerates the attack. Well, actually, it doesn't. It doesn't, but. Okay. I think I'm going to go knight d7. If he takes on, let's see if he takes on g7 and go bishop a3. Okay, he goes f5, which is actually kind of surprising in itself. But my guess is that he actually probably wants to close out the probably wants to close his center. I think actually bishop a3 I might have some. The thing is, if we close out the center, I actually have some rook c8 stuff. Okay, d4. Oh, okay. Now he's really targeting weaknesses. What are weaknesses here? Okay, let's take. Queen to c6. I think that's totally fine. And we're just going to keep taking. Okay, that was very weird. Oh, wow. He just gave up a piece. Okay, we're going to take it. So, I guess some tactical errors from our opponent, but that was not a very good plan. Well, also our opponent got a little impatient, I think, with trying to deal with the center here. Yeah, I think well, queen takes c6 is still not a mistake, but it just allows equality. say after. Okay, let's see. So now we can just take that. If rook a1, we just go rook a8. So I don't think there's any issue. Rook c7, we're completely fine. We can just take our. This is completely safe. We can't just push d4. There's not really anything wrong, to be honest. And now we just protect with rook d8. The game is sort of essentially over. We're just going to go f6, keeping the pawn chain really strong here. g3. Now we're going to play rook c3. Maybe we'll sacrifice a pawn, but it's okay. Okay, rook b7. Let's play king d6 now. Actually, I like this. Okay, let's go king c4. I'm really trying to kick this out right now. Okay, we might flag actually. Okay, we have a checkmate because we can pre-move. That was very close, but we got to win. Okay. Props to opponent for not, just flagging the game. Let's analyze the game a little bit. So as I said, the Nimzo-Larsen opening is very good in rapid and blitz, basically, especially blitz. Also bullet, but if we just talk about over OTB, over the board chess, rapid and blitz b3 is a very very good weapon if your opponent doesn't know what to do against it. However, I do play the Nimzo-Larsen, so I know what to do against it. So one of the most principal way to play against the Nimzo-Larsen is to just play e5, right? And e3, the modern variation, and this is completely fine. There's some traps involved here, but you learn it, you will eventually know, basically. So here, this is fine. But however, if you actually really don't want to play it, there's some lines of involving with bishop d6 here as well. I think, or you could just play a6. But me as a d4 and d5 player, I didn't really want to go to any of that. So I decided to just go for the principal d5, bishop b2, and then bishop f5. You can either go bishop f5 or bishop g4, depends on your preference. But bishop g4 can actually be prevented with e3. So which it says here like, okay, e5 is fine, and then all that stuff because you don't get pinned. Sure, right? However, if you want a consistent system that you can't just play in response to the Nimzo-Larsen without studying too much, the London system is just for you. London defense is just for you. I don't recommend you to play the London as white. However, specifically against the Nimzo-Larsen, this is just a good system for you to learn. This is also good for anyone who plays the Slav defense, as a lot of mainline Slav defense involved a bishop on f5. So very easy to play. So f4, this is going into a bird. And this is just objectively worse for white, and we kind of don't care about that. We just keep playing. E6. Let me put. Oh, it already analyzed. We kind of play decent. Let's see, knight c6. So we could just play c6 here. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Knight to the f3, and then knight to d7, and then here there's actually no bishop e5 stuff. So bishop e2, knight f6, or h6 or h5. If you want, you don't want to lose a bishop, just go h5. You could just go h5. H6 is also fine, and you just go with the typical London system plans, and you will have a very good game as black. I myself, as a d4 c4 player, Queen's Gambit, I kind of like the idea of c5. So knight to f3, knight to c6, and then bishop b5 is play. Now, it says here that knight e7 is best. I briefly thought about knight e7, but the problem is after knight e7, the bishops actually can't really move. It's tied down to protecting the g7. It's no g6 because you have a bishop on f5, and also why are you blocking the bishop yourself? It's saying that here it's completely fine. If they want to trade, it's even better for us, etc. But let's say castles a6. If they take, well, good for us. But if they go bishop e2, it's better for black, right? But it's going to take some sort of maneuvers in order to get the dark square bishop into the game. So initially I didn't like it. However, I now that we learned this, right, we probably will have a different opportunity in order to demonstrate this in some other game. So after bishop b5, I just went straight to a6, which I guess is kind of inaccurate. And maybe I should just protect it with queen c7. I didn't like it because after the bishop takes, I didn't want to do queen takes because I was going to do b takes anyways, which is not good. If I knew that I was going to take with a piece, then I might as well then I would go to queen c7. But in that case, I might as well go knight e7, because after queen c7, white will actually try to go knight e5, in which here, again, knight to e7 is pretty much forced. And I kind of don't like it. So here after a6, takes, and then knight e5, of course, is not good. But I didn't really care too much about the queen a4 idea, so don't bother. Queen b6. But queen b6 is definitely sort of a mistake. I keep forgetting that the c6 pawn is actually not really capturable. If I in certain lines, and f6 is one of them. I would actually play f6 here if I knew that then the c6 pawn cannot be captured, because after queen c7, apparently the knight is trapped. So the knight dropping back, and then we can play something like bishop d6, knight to e7, and castle, and we have a good position. Now, why is f6 good in that position? Well, usually in any sort of when you see an f4 pawn tying down onto the e5 square, or in reverse, the f5 pawn tying down to the e4 square, usually a knight will want to be planted there, and that is very annoying to play. Even if it is objectively better, it could be objectively better for the other side. But since this is so positional, it is very hard to play. So sometimes the best play is just to play f6 and just kick the knight out and not have to worry about any of those. So, but I made a mistake. I made some mistake here. I played queen b6, and after castles, I play h5 because I was I didn't like any of the g4 ideas, because I thought, if I play knight f6, which of course is not very good, g4 will become an idea. And now after bishop g6 is not very great. So I play h5, and then my opponent correctly played knight c3 here, and I delay c4 because I didn't see any good follow up. So I just went to developing pieces, which our opponent correctly sees knight a4. We went queen b5, which just doesn't really matter because it's already a lot better for white. Queen b5, and then now knight d3 is just weird, right? So taking is correct. However, I missed knight c3, and based on how I responded, I don't know if it's correct. Now let's see, right? So bishop d3 is correct. My plan was to go c4, but after knight e5, I was really wondering why keep the all the the tension here. So because I know since I have to keep the tension, maybe I have to switch into the other side. But after h4, maybe h3, and then now sure we have knight h5 into knight g3, but the game goes on, and this tension would not be kept forever. So I took, which is the best move, but I totally missed knight c3. Okay, so bishop takes c2 is viable, and why is that? Bishop takes c2, knight takes b5, bishop takes e1, knight c7, king d8. I mean, sure, whatever. Knight to a8, bishop to e2, rook fe1, bishop b5. Ah, the knight is actually kind of trapped. Why not bishop d3? I mean, white's just gonna play a4 now. Bishop d3. Knight b6. Oh, a5. What if just a5 right away? Okay, then the bishop has the b5 square, and apparently, black has compensation in this position. With the bishop pair, despite having looking kind of an ugly looking position. So knight e4, knight e4, knight b6, c7, knight e4. Now the position is kind of iffy. F6. Okay, so there is plan here for black to play on because of the how active the minor pieces are. The rook and the bishop will eventually get into the game once you develop with bishop d6, and then rook b8. White has actually have quite a few weaknesses that White has to work on, and the bishop planning on d3 alongside with the knight on d4 will give you enough compensation. But I did not see it because I actually didn't look any further because I was kind of shocked, right? And then at this point we already thought for a while. So I wanted to make a quick move. I went queen b6, and after c6, c3, white is just better. Uh, and it was the reason I said below, due to the fact that the c5 pawn is actually very weak. So let's say here after take 6, I was actually looking at rook c1, and sure after knight e4 we nicely protect the pawn. But is it really protect the pawn, right? I mean, we still have a good position after this like knight e4, which is why I went into it. But after knight c3, I really didn't see anything else. So yeah, bishop d6 is sort of inaccurate, but at this point, anything you do it doesn't really matter that much. So queen b5 is trying to keep protects on the pawn. Queen to c2, king e7 is it's kind of an impulsive move by me because I want to just go rook g8, even though I should have realized that it's not a good plan, or in other words, it just doesn't work. King e7, rook ac1, knight d7, and yeah, bishop takes g7 simply works because you can't really go rook a7 as after bishop b2. Now, if you try to go rook g8, d4 can't just win the game. Um, Not in this position, I guess, because of this, but rook f2, and then other things happen. But after here, if yeah, black can just play white can just play rook f2, and now d4 is unstoppable. I mean, what do? You could play rook a6, trying to look for rook g6, but now f5, and taking opens up everything, which is not very good. So yeah, the position is already very bad for me. But luckily, my opponent he went f5, which is a positional mistake, allowing e5 here. The reason e5 here is good is because if you look right, c5 is attacked mainly attacked by all of white pieces, but not e5. And e5 is a center pawn, and it's protected very well by the bishop and the knight. Now here, white is still better after bishop a3 because this pawn is unprotectable. Um, I don't know about this. I don't know about a5, but I probably would just play h4. I think f6 is just simply bad, right? Yeah. After f6, just bishop takes, knight takes. Oh, actually, wait. After bishop a3, I was planning on playing rook ac8. After takes, knight takes, knight takes. Oh, you can't. I can't take back because queen takes c5 is a check, and I don't have enough time to take on d3. Okay, so I was just losing anyways. But here, our opponent make a very big mistake with d4. I don't know why this move is not. I guess because it's only decreased by a 0.3, but this move should be an inaccuracy. Like it's a massive inaccuracy. So yeah, after c takes e4, what I saw, right? If e takes e4 is play, we play e4 and we give up a pawn. But what do we get back instead? Now we get back the activity because now this pawn is actually a pass pawn, believe it or not. I don't really like this idea, but uh, I guess this is probably better. But maybe both rook hc8 and rook hb8 are viable. I don't like this because it's potential like this. Okay, I mean that maybe I'll see it in the game, maybe not. But let's say that white just takes this simply, and then take the rook. And after knight c3, how do I do this? So apparently I will be down 2 pawns, but I have compensation. So bishop c3, rook 8, rook takes a2, and this is a draw because this bishop is very bad and it's tied down, and the knight is very active uh, and protecting the center pawns, and the center pawns are on the white square, the light square. So nothing can really attack it. So e4 is just be a sitting duck there, holding everything. So queen takes c6 here is a mistake. And why is c takes e3 a mistake? Oh wow. Uh wow, queen takes c6. And the queen has no moves after this. Wow. So apparently I just like lost because after this, rook takes c5, queen to c5. Okay. So d takes e3. So I'm supposed to, well, not supposed to, but yeah, I'm supposed to contest this file once again. Let's see. Queen takes c8. What happens if this? Then d takes e3, and then white's winning. Black is winning because the queen is too active. D takes e3, then queen takes b5 is just a mistake, a blunder, and then he blunder again, just giving up the knight. Okay. So I think from there, I mean, we just have a very simple win. So
Okay, not the cleanest game, but we take the win. So, uh, yeah, I hope the game has been very instructive for you guys. So, thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you guys in the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Peace.